Poverty. When I was a child, my family struggled financially for quite a while. My mother left my father for some very valid reasons. He was mentally ill and a danger to us all. My mother married him young at 19 years old because my grandparents would not let them move out of the house unless she was married. My father landed a good job working at a General Motors plant in Oklahoma City. When they had their first daughter, my sister Melissa, my mother was able to stay home with her. And 2 years later, they had another daughter, my sister Ann. And another 2 years after that, they had a set of twins, my sister Rebecca and myself. About 6 months after we were born, my mother left my father because he was showing some serious signs of mental illness and even threatened my mother with a gun. She left him as soon as she could and moved back home to Michigan. Now she was a single mother of 4 children with 4 years and under. How scary that must have been. She only had a high school diploma and no job, the very recipe for poverty to take root. She moved back in with her parents and was able to get a 2-bedroom house with the help of the government, and we were living on the welfare system. By the time I was 3 years old, my mother started taking college classes. It took her quite a while, but 7 years later, she had a degree in early education and immediately got a job teaching. Around the same time, my mom remarried and life started to get a lot better. We no longer were on the welfare system, and my mom and my stepfather were able to go buy a house in a nice neighborhood. Who here has ever lived in poverty or knows someone who's lived in poverty? Poverty is a serious issue we have in the United States today, as well as around the globe. My hope is to inspire people to help those who live in poverty so that they can overcome and make a better life for themselves. Today, I will be speaking about how poverty is a serious issue we have in the United States, what we can do to fight poverty, and what the effects of poverty are. There are many people in the United States who live in poverty. Poverty is when people do not make enough money to cover their basic needs. It affects men, women, and children every day. According to the Poverty USA website, in 2016, 40.6 million people lived in poverty. Out of everyone in the United States, children have the highest poverty rate over grown adults, men and women. There are many families who live in poverty: 2-parent families, single-parent families, some with single dads and some with single mothers. But in all those situations, the children are the ones who are affected the most. According to an article on the Washington Post website, Pramila Nathanson states, the United States has the highest child poverty rates, 25th% in the developed world. Next, I will be discussing how these families can fight poverty and better their situations. The number one solution to fight poverty is to get educated. The U.S. News and World Report website states adults with lower education levels are more likely to be poor. People without a college degree often have a hard time finding a high-paying job with benefits. People may say, but I can't go to school because I can't afford it. There are ways such as Pell Grants and financial aid to help students to help them pay for part of their school or even all of their school. Grants are better because it is money given to you that you don't have to pay back. Although it is important for people in poverty to get educated, it's also important for everyone else in the community to have compassion to help them when they are in need. When people have a support system they can turn to, such as family and friends, or even a church community, they are more likely to overcome their situation. In the story I spoke of, in the beginning of my speech, I spoke of how my mother left my father and moved back to Michigan. She was homeless with four kids and no job. My mom was able to move in with her parents for a time and stayed with friends as well until she was able to move into government housing. The support of family and friends kept us off the streets, and we never considered ourselves homeless. You can help people in poverty by supporting and donating food and supplies to organizations in your community. That helps the people experience poverty or even homelessness. Finally, let's discuss how poverty can impact the future of those experiencing it. Poverty affects health. People need nutritious foods and exercise to have good health. According to What Works for America's Communities website, adults with higher incomes or more education are more likely to be physically active. As a family income rises, their children are also less likely to be sedentary. Additionally, as a family income rises, the quality of their diet improves and the likelihood of smoking cigarettes decreases. Education plays a major role in getting a better job. According to the American Prospect website, Strawn reports that when education is combined with multidimensional job training, readiness, and a quality job search, the returns more than double. One Portland, Oregon program reported in a 25% increase in earnings, a 21% increase in employment, and a 22% reduction of time spent on welfare. In conclusion, poverty is a major issue we have in the United States. Please help in the fight against poverty by inspiring children and adults to continue their education and have compassion and support for those in need. Donate to charities and shelters that help people in need. Do your part as a caring citizen to help those who can't help themselves. I will close with a famous quote from Albert Einstein. The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. Thank you.